Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Deontay Wilder's conqueror from the amateur days, Evgeny Romanov, is continuing to make strides in the heavyweight division, advancing to 12-0 with 9 KOs, knocking out ranked fighter Dillon Carman in under a round. Very impressive performance this. Dillon Carman got caught early and often. Romanov looked very impressive, but Carman, as soon as he felt the power, he didn't really look like he wanted to know, didn't really look like he wanted to be there, and the signals were there that this wasn't going to last long. And Romanov, who was quick on his feet, good with the counter, he really was tagging Carman almost at will. And this sequence here, which was playing at the beginning, right hand, left hook, Carman in all sorts of trouble, dropped to his knees and couldn't get up. Perhaps he could have beaten the count, but, clearly he didn't want to or couldn't. And he was knocked out in under a round. That only went for about half a round. So Evgeny Romanov is starting to make a real push in the heavyweight division. The Deontay Wilder stuff, beating him in the amateurs, comprehensively, that really is where he's made his name with most fans. And a lot of people point to that as, he's a decent fighter. He's turned pro late. He's 33 now, so he's 12-0, 9 KOs, and he's really going to get a move on now. And with this performance against Carman, it sends a bit of a signal to the rest of the heavyweight division that he could potentially be a guy who could make some noise in the division, become a decent level contender. Because until now, we didn't really know. If you look at the record here on screen, so Dillon Carman, the most recent opponent, and before that, you've had a slew of journeymen, some familiar names there, like Nascimento, Baktov, Dennis Baktov, he fought Anthony Joshua. You've got a few other journeymen, or mostly journeymen here. And occasionally in some of these fights, Romanov hadn't looked $1 million, but against Carman, it was a bit of a statement performance. And effectively now, with that win over Dillon Carman, he is breaking through to fringe contender level now. And that's the sort of territory Carman had been occupying after his recent knockout win over Simon Keane, a Canadian prospect, fellow Canadian to Carman, knocked him out in pretty devastating fashion. And he's the sort of guy that always comes to fight, throws, big punches, and Keane found out about that and knocked him out. But in this fight, he looked a bit cautious and hesitant after feeling Romanov's power, and after that, it kind of looked like it was only going to go one way, and it did. So I guess we have to ask ourselves now, how far can this guy go? I think it probably won't be too long until he's ranked by at least the WBA, because if we have a look at the rankings here, Dillon Carman, who has the NABA strap, he beat Simon Keane, and effectively after that he got ranked. He's at 15th, so potentially we will see Romanov move into the WBA rankings. And I'd note here, Bermans Werner at 14, where he's had no fights and done nothing to nobody. That's a disgrace in itself. But some of these rankings, some of these guys in here haven't done a lot to have some of these high rankings. You've still got Freza Kendo ranked at number 3. Kind of says it all about the credibility of the WBA's rankings. But anyway, Dillon Carman worked his way into the rankings there. He's now been sparked out by Evgeny Romanov, Deontay Wilder's conqueror, back in the amateur days. And the question now, though, about Evgeny Romanov, how far can he go? Because the hype around Romanov has sort of, it's outstripped the actual performance until this point. With this point, he's got a legit win where people can point to it and go, actually, that was a very good performance against a guy who we know can actually punch a bit. He comes to fight, and stopping Dillon Carman is a bit of a statement. So expect bigger step-ups in 2019. Right now, he is the 4th highest rated Russian fighter. If we just click into this, so it's behind Alexander Povetkin, Sergey Kuzmin, Andrei Fedosov, and then Evgeny Romanov. And further down there at number 7, Aslanbek Makhmudov, a prospect who's also generating a fair degree of hype right now. But Romanov, if he can keep stepping it up in 2019 against similar or better level opponents, who knows how far he could go. But I do like what I see from him. But with him just being 6 foot, so he's a bang on 6 foot, he is very undersized for a division where effectively the starting height to have a lot of success in the division is 6'4". Or, that seems to be a bit of a minimum bar these days. The guys 6'5" and above are the ones really having a lot of success at the top end of the division. But that's not to say that he can't have success, because we've seen Alexander Povetkin. He's only 6'2", and possibly he's only really 6'1". He's had a lot of success over a sustained period in the heavyweight division. And with good amateur pedigree behind Evgeny Romanov, he can punch, he can counter, he's got some pretty decent skills. He could potentially cause some upsets and be a problem for some guys in the division, if he can get the right fights. And that's the key now. It's similar to the Joe Joyce situation with the advanced age at 33. And 33 is, it's not terribly old, but if you really want to make a push in the heavyweight division and you're still in your prospect phase, you've got to get a crack on and really try to make something happen. Because a lot of heavyweights start to sort of decline in some form, especially if they rely on athleticism after about 35 or 36. We've seen a number of heavyweights who rely on athleticism decline after that point. So Romanov, he really needs to make something happen now. But Deontay Wilder's Conqueror from the amateur days, Evgeny Romanov, starting to make a bit of noise, and good luck to him. What do you make of it all? And check out that fight. I've left the link to his fight with Carman in the description box. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.